Well, the best way I could describe this movie is Olympus Has Fallen light. White House Down is a movie that follows Channing Tatum, and he goes in to get an interview at the Secret Service at the White House one day. He takes his daughter there, and he essentially doesn't get the job, and the White House becomes under attack, and they're going after Jamie Foxx, who is the President of the United States, and now Channing Tatum is like the only guy inside who can actually do something about this and try and stop these terrorists. Sounds a lot like a movie that came out a few months ago, but I'll hold off on all of those comparisons for now and just talk about this movie. Going into this movie, I wasn't that excited. Like, the first trailer that came out, the teaser trailer, was it was very dark, it was very almost scary in a way about how realistic it looked, and it looked really intense. Then the second trailer came out, and it looked like a buddy cop movie, so I had mixed emotions going into this movie, and coming out, it was a buddy cop movie, essentially. Not for the whole movie, but for a good portion in the middle. This movie is just straight up buddy cop with Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx. Channing Tatum in this movie, his character's name is John Cale. Is that as close as they could get to John McClane without getting sued? I mean, they made him so much, or at least tried to make him so much like John McClane, that it just took me out of the movie, because he has these one-liners, he's talking to himself, he's like, ah, you shouldn't do this, ah, this is stupid, let's do it, and it's like, that's just a rip-off. Jamie Foxx in the movie does really well for what he has. He doesn't have that much to do, but again, for what he has, he does really well. Jamie Foxx is a great actor. There's a bunch of different people who have minor roles. Richard Jenkins, Maggie Gyllenhaal, James Woods. They're supporting characters, but they all give good performances in the movie, I thought. Especially James Woods, I thought he was very good in this movie. But the thing about this movie that just brought it down was not only the fact that the buddy copness and all the jokes that went along with that, just, they didn't work for me for the severity of the situation. It's just the fact that I didn't care about any of the characters in this movie. Like, take Olympus Has Fallen, for example. Yeah, that's where we're going now. I cared about Gerard Butler's character, not because, like, you got a ton of character development for him, but because of the fact that he was funny and he was kind of relatable as a character, and you wanted him to succeed. In this movie, Channing Tatum, they try and set up this, you know, false character development with his daughter. She doesn't like him because he went out to Afghanistan, and he's not there for her. So, just for me, that was just kind of fake feeling, and the daughter is not very good in this movie. Like, she was fine for most of it. It was just going along as a normal kid actor, but then there was this one scene near the end where she has to scream something, and it was atrocious. I don't know, it was really bad. But just Channing Tatum's character, I couldn't get into him because of how much of a ripoff he is of John McClane. And Jamie Foxx's character, he was funny, but I didn't really care about him that much. And I didn't really care for the villains, so I really had no one to latch onto in this movie to really start getting me into it, so that was the main problem I had with this movie. Also, this movie, I thought it was going to be an action movie, and technically it is, but there was just such a small amount of action in this movie. I was shocked, because there would be, like, the movie starts out slowly, like I would expect, and then once the White House gets taken over and attacked, yeah, you got the destruction of buildings and whatnot. But then you just have this sequence where there is a few short gun shootouts, but for the most part, they're just talking and running around the White House, avoiding each other. And it's just like, how is this entertaining? They're just running around and avoiding, and nothing's really happening. And another thing this movie could have really benefited from is an R rating, because every single time someone dies in this movie, they have a gun, like, oh shoot, oh let's cut away, and then cut back. It's like, couldn't you have just had the balls to go with an R rating? I get that this is probably a pretty big budgeted movie, and the studio butted in and, you know, said don't do rated R even if someone wanted to. This movie would have benefited a lot from an R rating, and it showed, because the action in the movie, it's alright, it's entertaining when it's there, but it didn't compare to me to other action movies. I've been saying this a lot lately, but this movie is fairly predictable. I kind of got most of what was going on pretty early on. There was one twist near the end that I didn't really catch because I wasn't looking for it, because I was kind of just sitting there waiting for it to end, so that one kind of surprised me, but it's not enough to bring the movie back. To me, this movie, it's a decent watch because the action is enjoyable. Channing Tatum does what he can, even though I couldn't get into his character, as does Jamie Foxx. But just all those problems I listed just pile up, and this movie is not something I ever want to watch again. I'm gonna give White House Down a C-. I don't think you really have to go see it. I'd much more highly recommend go seeing Olympus Has Fallen or renting it or something like that, because that's just like an 80s action movie. It's really fun, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. It has some cool one-liners. The action is really intense. This movie, it's so bright, and it's a modern-day action movie. It's PG-13. I have gone over these points now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and end this. Are you guys looking forward to White House Down if you're watching this review after it's come out? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? How did you feel about Channing Tatum's character? Rate your beautiful comments down there and tell me what you think. And if you like this video, hit that subscribe button down there. Because if you don't, I'll make Die Hard 10 in space.